Brianna, thank you. We begin, I just picture Micah's soul being escorted by your beautiful song. And that's what we're doing here today. But none of us wants to be here. We want to wake from this nightmare and return to normal life with Micah as our parent, partner, brother, son, uncle, relative, friend, colleague, and rabbi. Any loss is immeasurable, but the tragic loss of someone so young, so vibrant, and so dear to so many feels too much to bear. It isn't fair that he won't be at upcoming family events, the big ones and the little things. It isn't fair that Ortzion lost its Pied Piper and spiritual leader. And it isn't fair that the world just lost one heck of a mensch. And yet we are here to honor Micah's memory and comfort his beloved grieving family. Because of COVID, we can't be together to actually hold this family in our arms, to listen and be present. We can't wander a room during Shiva and offer and hear stories of Micah. But through technology, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds who are reaching out through this Zoom, sharing in grief and offering love and support. Together, we will transform a cold technology platform into a warm blanket of comfort and embrace for Gabby, Brianna, Julia, Avi, Michelle, Tina, Murray, Josh, Jeremiah, Jonah, and all of his loved ones. My name is Joe Menashe, and I am joined by Sean Fields-Meyer, and we are humbled to spend this sacred time with each of you and honor our dear friend. To honor our dear friend and colleague. We will begin by asking Brianna to please come back forward to the Bima to lead us in Psalm 23. Brianna, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Brianna. A Psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me to water in places of repose. He renews my life. He guides me in right paths as befits his name. Though I walk through a valley of deepest darkness, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You spread a table for me in full view of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Only goodness and steadfast love shall pursue me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. A midrash teaches that Abraham, the first Jew, had a habit of running. He would be sitting at home looking through his doorway, and as soon as he saw anyone traveling on the nearby road, he would run, get on his feet and run out and greet the person. And this didn't just happen one time. It was a habit of his heart, a habit of his soul. After greeting the people, then he'd invite them in and run around his home to prepare delicious food as sustenance. And he only slowed down at the end of the visit when it was time to say goodbye, blessing them as they went on their way. Abraham had a special quality, the Midrash says, nachat ruach, a delight of the spirit. Imagine a man going through life with such passion, such love, such faith, such delight of spirit, and sharing all of that with everyone he encountered, friends and loved ones and strangers. Imagine a man living a life fueled by love. This was the Torah. This was the life of our beloved Rabbi Micah Caplan. Right now, today, we're here, all of us, struggling with this moment, with the shock, with the unfairness, with the devastating loss. And we are also here to lift up his Torah, to lift up that remarkable life. Micah, as many of you know, was born in Los Angeles, and the family moved to Arizona, where he spent much of his childhood. Micah had two significant childhood passions. The first was synagogue. He went to shul every Shabbat morning, and when he wasn't in shul, he was pretending that he was. I'm told that as a kid, he would daven in his own little congregation, a minyan of stuffed animals. Micah's other passion in those days was the Dodgers. Tina tells the story that Micah desperately wanted his bar mitzvah theme to be the Dodgers, but that wasn't really permissible. So the family got around it on a technicality. They just called it Micah's bar mitzvah bash. And the event was divided into 9 innings, and there was even a 7th inning stretch. As a teen, Micah moved to Los Angeles. And when Tina married Murray, Micah and brother Josh gained 3 more brothers, Jeremiah and Jonah and Job. Alav Shalom, may his memory be for a blessing. Micah played basketball in a USY league, and he had fun with his brothers and his friends, but he never lost his love of shul. And he became close to one of his great mentors, Rabbi Elijah Shochet. After college, he embraced the calling of his life, becoming a rabbi. Micah and Michelle brought 3 extraordinary neshamas into this world, Brianna and Julia and Avi. And after leading congregations in Arcadia, California, and later in Miami, Micah came home, back to Arizona, back to Phoenix, back to the embrace of the community that had known him and loved him so dearly years before. Micah Caplan was so many things. He was a family man, generous and protective. His kids knew that he would fight and fight and fight for them. He was funny, according to his kids. 50% of the time, he was intentionally funny. And the other 50, it was accidental. He was hilarious and sometimes silly and frequently naive. And he was wildly smart. His brother Josh said that he had a crazy ability to recall names and dates and numbers, even from decades before. He was a community builder. Everyone knew that in Micah, they had not just a rabbi, but a friend and a dear one. And in fact, in the last few days, he was just picking up the phone and calling people just to check that they were okay. That was Micah. And he was a rabbi. This was a rabbi who never met a sports analogy he didn't like. This was a rabbi who powered through prayer with feeling and speed. This was a rabbi who came up with literally handheld ways for his congregants to internalize his teachings. After his high holiday sermons, he passed out little mementos, small physical objects for people to take home and remember his Torah. Micah was a rabbi who came home to Arizona, who got to work empowering the lay leaders, teaching children across the city, and actively, very actively, supporting his colleagues, all with that nachat ruach. Micah the mensch took so much joy in knowing people really deeply, knowing time after time after time. Micah made sure people felt seen and known and understood. The phone calls to folks for their birthdays, the details. He knew about us and celebrated in each of us. The care, the concern, the deep, deep sense of responsibility. Micah always had a smile, but he also had his share of challenges and pain and loss. But what did he do with the tough things? What did he do with the darkness? He brought light, and he set about the work of bringing tikkun, repair. Micah invested in love. And in recent years, Micah was blessed with renewed love, with Gabby as life partner, and with so much joy from his children. And throughout these coronavirus months, his Torah, over and over again, it was about fighting the fear. It was about denying that darkness. And always, 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 it was about filling the world with love. Even in these challenging months, he went about his life with that nachat ruach, that delight of spirit. And he urged each of us to do the same. So many of the video drashot, those gifts he posted, even in the last few weeks, were about just that. Walking the very narrow bridge, undeterred by fear, changing the world with faith and optimism. And Micah spent the last day of his life on earth doing that too, bringing love. On that morning, he served as a rabbi, a support, helping congregants through a difficult life transition. This was chesed. This was love with deepest kindness from his heart. And that afternoon, after going home, our Micah was playful and laughing and sharing precious time with family. This was ahava, purest, truest, deep affection, love of and from the heart. That's the Micah we remember today. Like Avraham running to share the glory of God's world, like Avraham, full of delight and spirit and brimming with love. Let's hold our memories of Micah close and let them add meaning and intention and purpose to our lives. Tihi nishmato tzor b'tzor chayim. May his soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. And may his memory be a blessing.
Amen. Thank you, Sean. Now call forward Micah's professional partner, cantor from Ort Zion, Cantor Dana Rubenstein. She will lead us in Psalm 121, Esa Enai.
Esa Enai el Heharim Me'ain Yavo Ezri Esa Enai el Heharim Me'ain Yavo Ezri Ezri Me'im Adonai Ose shamayim ba'aretz Ezri me'im Adonai Ose shamayim ba'aretz. I lift my eyes unto the mountains, from where will my help come? I lift my eyes unto the mountains, from where will my help come? My help comes from the godliness of life, maker of heaven and of the earth. My help comes from the godliness of life, present in the heavens and all around. Esainai el harim me'ain yavo ezri. Esainai el harim me'ain yavo ezri.
We will now have opportunity to hear from Micah's family and loved ones. We will begin with Gabby, Micah's life partner. Gabby.
Thank you all for being here with us today. Even if it's not actually in person, we are so grateful for the outpour of love and support. This is impossible. There are so many people participating today, and many from different chapters of Micah's life. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Gabby. I'm Micah's partner, his love. Last week for my birthday, Micah gave me a set of socks, and one pair said, "You are my person," and the other said, "You will always be my person." I lost my person, but he will always be my person. We joked with Avi yesterday that Micah must now be playing hoops with Kobe Bryant, and what a sight that must be. I mean, he had the height, but for any of you who saw him play in the Suns Clergy halftime game, well, his skills left a little to be desired. But like Kobe, Micah is and always will be a GOAT, one of the greatest of all time. He lit up a room. People gravitated towards him. And he was so proud of having built this unbelievable community here. Micah just wanted people to be happy. You almost have a million stories and different examples of how that was true to you. But as his partner, he always joked that making me happy and getting me to laugh was his full-time job. Sorry if all of you thought that working here at Or Tzion as your rabbi was his full-time job, but it wasn't. It was making me smile. And up until the very end, that was true. Micah and I had just purchased a new home and moved in with the kids a month ago. The kids and I were his world. And he was so excited for this next chapter. Like any new home, it had its perks and its headaches. One of our perks was a Ring doorbell, an electronic doorbell with a camera and microphone allowing you, through an app, wherever you might be, to see who was at your front door. This past week, I was back in Washington, D.C., packing up some of my personal belongings, but I'd get alerts when there was motion at the front door. Usually it was Micah or the kids coming in or out. And since he knew I would often tune in to see who was at the door, he would wave. Right before he passed, he had gone for a walk. And in true Micah form, he stood at the doorbell on his way out and waved for an extended period of time because he knew it would make me smile. And upon his return, he stood at the doorbell and danced around with his questionable dance moves to make me laugh. I'm so grateful to have those moments on video. Up until the end, he was laughing and dancing and happy. He was the brightest light. And while our worlds are much darker with him gone, We also know that he will shine bright and be a guiding light for us. We all carry his infectious laugh and smile with us. Mi amor, you made me so happy. As he described it, our love was better than great. We hoped for a lifetime together, but a second of being your partner was worth it. Micah and I always said that people enter our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. He entered mine for all three, a reason, a season, and a lifetime. Patito, I will always be your pochito and carry you with me. I love you, period, for a lifetime. And since Micah always liked sharing quotes in his talks, I will close with Maya Angelou. She says, I am grateful to have been loved and be loved now, and to be able to love because that liberates. Love liberates. It doesn't just hold, that's ego. Love liberates, it doesn't bind. Love says, I love you. I love you if you're in China. I love you if you're across town. I love you if you're in Harlem. I love you. I would like to be near you. I'd love to have your arms around me. I'd love to hear your voice in my ear. But that's not possible now. So I love you, go.
Gabby, may that love give you comfort and strength at this time. We will now hear from Josh, Micah's brother.
Micah, you're gonna hear many beautiful and heartfelt memories and stories about you today. I want to speak to you directly. I only want to tell you one thing. Thank you. Thank you for being my protector. As children, you did everything you could to protect me from harm and sadness during some of my darkest days. But in doing so, you exposed yourself to tremendous pain, which you were forced to manage throughout your life. You sacrificed yourself for me. And although later in life as an adult, I was able to share this with you, I will never be able to express to you how grateful I am for always being my shield, no matter what the cost would be to you. As I grow older, and as your children grow older, I will do my best to try to provide them with the same guidance and love and sacrifice that you provided to me. I love you.
Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you, Josh. I now ask Avi, Micah's youngest, to please come forward. Looks like we're getting Avi, Julia, and Brianna.
There's a Kabbalistic teaching that says that at any given moment, there are 36 people in the world who are tzaddikim, pure righteous people. But these people are hidden, nobody knows who they are, and according to some versions of the story, even they themselves may not know who they are. I'm not sure who the other 35 hidden righteous ones are, but I am fortunate that the 36th was my own father. He spent his entire life giving pieces of himself to those around him. Some days I would worry that he gave too much away and that he forgot to keep some pieces for himself, but there was no stopping him. I want to share the story my father told just a few months ago on Rosh Hashanah. A young man was proud of his healthy and beautiful heart. One day, standing in the middle of the town, he proclaimed he had the most beautiful heart in the whole valley. A large crowd gathered to have a look at his heart. His heart was smooth, shiny, and looked very healthy. Indeed, the man had the most beautiful heart in the valley, everyone agreed. The proud young man felt delighted and boasted about his perfect heart, which everyone admired. Suddenly, a voice from the crowd said, "Your heart is not as beautiful as mine." The young man searched for the person behind the voice, and an old man appeared in front of him. "Show us your heart if you believe you have a more beautiful heart than mine," said the young man. The old man carefully showed his heart. The crowd and the young man looked at the old man's heart. It was beating strongly and healthily, but it was not smooth and shiny as the young man's heart. Instead, it had scars all over it. It had places where some pieces of the heart had been removed and other pieces were put in. The other pieces didn't fit perfectly, and there were several uneven edges. In some places, there were deep gouges where some pieces were missing. And the crowd laughed at the old man's heart. How can he claim that he has the most beautiful heart when it is all scarred and uneven? They thought. The young man looked at the old man's heart and laughed. "You must be kidding. Compare your heart and mine. My heart looks perfect and smooth, and yours is a mess of scars and tears." "Yes, your heart looks perfect, but I would never trade your heart with mine," said the old man. "Every scar in my heart represents a person whom I have given my love. I tear a piece of my heart and give it to them. Often my loved ones give me back a piece of their heart which fits into the empty space in mine. Since everyone loves each other in a different way, their piece of heart may not perfectly fit mine, so you can see some rough edges. These scars and rough edges remind me of the love we share," he continued. "Sometimes I would give a piece of my heart, but the other person may not have returned a piece of theirs to me. These are the empty gouges. Although these gouges are painful, they remind us of the love I have for these people too. So do you now see what a true beauty is?" asked the old man. The young man in the crowd stood silently with tears running down their cheeks. The young man walked to the old man, reached into his perfectly young and beautiful heart, ripped a piece out of it, and offered it to the man with trembling hands. The old man gratefully received his offering, placed it in his heart, and then took a piece from his old heart and placed it in the young man. The young man looked at his heart. It did not look shiny and smooth like it used to, but it was now more beautiful because he could feel the love from the old man's heart flowing through him. They embraced and walked away side by side. My father's heart was both physically and metaphorically overcome with love. We spent the last year or so learning what the balance was between giving love to others and keeping some of that love for yourself. He never quite got the hang of it. It's something I have always and will always admire about him, but at the same time, it is also the very thing that took him from us. I was not supposed to have spent these last 3 months in Phoenix. The world's craziness forced me to leave my semester abroad in Yerushalayim in March instead of June. I will never understand the inner workings of the world, but I now realize how it was a hidden blessing for me to come home and spend the last weeks, days, and, and hours of his life with him. I am eternally grateful for that. There will never be enough words to describe the relationship I had with my dad. Many were able to see it from the outside, but only the two of us experienced its magnitude, holiness, and authenticity. The next years of my life will be spent learning Torah in the place where he did the same. I am excited to learn from his teachers, the people who helped him become the incredible, loving person we all knew as Rabbi Caplan. He always used to talk about how excited he was to learn with me and through me during my years as a rabbinical student. I know that he will still be my chavruta, even though it may look different than we imagined. I know I will learn from him all the days of my life.
Thank you so much, Brianna, for sharing on behalf of you and your siblings. Now ask that Tina and Marie, Micah's parents, come forward to share.
I want to share two things with you this morning. The first is to give you all an idea of the Micah you may not have known, because I knew him longer than anybody else here. Micah never wanted to be a problem or cause anyone to be inconvenienced. On the day he was born, I was performing a concert. And halfway through the concert, the labor pains began. I was timing them. I finished the concert. And Micah had the kindness to let me finish the concert, and we got to the hospital just in time for him to be born. It seems that he began his life putting others' needs ahead of his own, even at his birth. In fact, during the years he was growing up, I would ask Micah what he wanted for his birthday. He would always say, "I don't want anything at all. Go ask Josh. He wants lots of things. Just give them to Josh." By the time Micah was 4, I know the rabbi spoke of this. Every Saturday morning, in his room, he had little chairs, and he'd put all of his stuffed animals into his congregation, and he would lead Shabbat services for them in his bedroom before he went to the synagogue. But through his bedroom door, he did not know that I listened to him delivering sermons to his congregation. Clearly a rabbi in training at an age before most of you even knew him. The second thing I want to share, I need Murray, my husband, to join with me. This may be for all of you, but it's mostly for our children and our grandchildren, and especially for Brianna, Julia, and Avi. It's an incredibly difficult time. We are afraid. We don't know the future. The world seems such a random and cruel place.
What I know about Judaism is that at times like this, it doesn't ask us to ask the questions why. Why do bad things happen to good people? Why did Micah have to die? We're not privy to answers to those questions. We're told it's God's will, which is our tradition's way of saying it's beyond your ability to understand, it's beyond your ability to know. Don't go there. What Judaism does ask us to ask is what? What do we do now? And how do we do it? And what we do now is with courage and strength and love and care for each other. We bury our son, our brother, our father, our beshert. We mourn, and then we get on with the living of our lives in a way that honors his memory. We get on with courage and not with fear. And that's the most important thing, to not succumb to the fear, to move our lives forward. And I know that's what we will do. I know that's what Brianna and Julia and Avi will do.
So we want to share some words from Pirkei Avot that Micah sang at his very first at-home special message to his congregation, his weekly message. In English, all the world is a very narrow bridge. The main thing is not to be afraid. If you know it, please sing it with us. Kol ha'olam kulo, gesher tsar me'od, gesher tsar me'od, gesher tsar me'od. Kol ha'olam kulo, gesher tsar me'od, gesher tsar me'od. V'ha'ikar, v'ha'ikar, lo lefachet, lo lefachet klal. V'ha'ikar, v'ha'ikar, lo lefachet klal. Micah, my number one, my Michaela, I called you number one always, and I love you forever.
Tina and Murray, whole family, thank you for sharing. And as you walk along this very narrow bridge, this painfully constricting narrow bridge, please know that there are so many around who love you, love Micah, and are with you on this journey. I'm going to speak for just a couple minutes. Running a summer camp, I get asked a lot of crazy questions. And Micah had one of my favorites. He would come here to camp as a rabbi, be a rabbi in residence for a week every summer. And before Micah would leave, mind you, in camp planning, we're just thinking a few hours ahead. And Micah would always saddle up next to me and say, "Hey, Joe, can we talk about next year? Because I'm looking at my schedule and I'm pretty sure that the third week, that's the week that's going to work for my family and the congregation." And I'm thinking, Micah, please just let me get to lunch. And it just reflected his love of this place and this community. And I hope everyone knows that as much as Micah loved camp, this place loved him back even more. The stories that I've been hearing, recent and from years ago, have just been uplifting and comforting. And the Greater Ramah Mishpacha, the Greater Ramah family, shares this loss with his family and with the Or Zion community. And Brianna, Julia, and Avi, I know that sometimes having a dad around camp, at least I'm told by my children as well, can crimp your style and might limit a little bit of camp freedom. But I hope that camp was big enough for each of you. And you should know that when you were doing camp and when he wasn't sneaking you Vaughn's run of food, which is just fine, he was passionately teaching Torah to staff, telling those great classic camp stories. I think not all of the stories from his childhood at camp, and connecting so beautifully with our Ezra and Amitzim, our special needs community at camp. And during the year, he used to describe his camp recruitment strategy as a kosher octopus, using every tentacle to reach out. And what a loss, and what a powerful legacy. After hearing those loving remembrances from Micah's partner, brother, children, and parents, I don't have too many of my own words to add, so instead I'd actually like to share some of Micah's. He wrote a Dvar Torah when he was a camp rabbi in 2016. It was for this week's Parsha, this week's Torah portion that we published for our camp families. But I think he wrote that Dvar Torah for today, for each and every one of us, to provide his words of comfort for his beloved family and his grieving community. Micah wrote, "Over the years, Camp Ramah has helped shape and craft the Jewish identity of so many of us. Ramah has shaped our core values and provided us blessings of a holy community with friendships that last a lifetime. But if I had to choose several of those Judaic principles that Ramah brings to the table of life, they would be those similar to what Murray just said, that are rooted in our Torah portion this week, Shalach Lecha, and those values are enthusiasm, courage, and hope. And that's what our Torah is mindful of this week. Micah was writing about the spies, the scouts that were sent out to look at the Holy Land and bring a report back to the people while they were in the desert. And only 2 of the spies could look beyond the struggles and muster enough optimism to see the Holy Land as possible. And here is what Micah wrote to us. Micah wrote, "In a world of uncertainty, we must have strength and bring hope to others. In a world of doubt, we must bring our positive being to all that we do, making the world a safer and better one. In a world of fragility, we must be active participants in making our lives and the lives of others stronger." Rabbi Micah Caplan, these are some of the values you teach us now as rabbi and community leader: holy community, friendships that last a lifetime and beyond, enthusiasm, courage, values, hope. And Micah, as a friend and loved one, you teach us today as well. Gabby, Brianna, Julia, Avi, Michelle, Tina, Murray, Josh, Jeremiah, Jonah, and all his family, friends, colleagues, and congregants who are also friends. Micah is speaking to our experience today when uncertainty, doubt, and fragility feel paramount. Micah reminds us, yes, uncertainty abounds today, but we must have strength and bring hope to others. Micah blesses us and reminds us that, yes, doubt is overwhelming. And he teaches we must bring our positive being to all that we do, making the world a safer and better one. And yes, life is too fragile. And Micah speaks to us saying, we must be active participants in making our lives and the lives of others stronger. We are overwhelmed by uncertainty, doubt, and fragility, and Micah is wishing for us and blessing us for hope, positivity, and strength. Those concepts of hope, positivity, and strength may feel as distant as the stars in the sky, but like the memory of a loved one, stars don't always feel distant. Stars like those in the Arizona desert or in the Ojai Valley where Camp Ramah is, those kinds of stars can elicit feelings of connection and immediacy. They provide order and shelter, comfort, stories, and guidance. May Micah's loving memory be like the stars that feel close and are always present in guiding our journey ahead. May Harav Mordechai Lev, Micah's beloved memory, bless us with comfort for today and serve as inspiration for tomorrow. Yehei Zichro Baruch. May Micah Caplan's memory be for a blessing. We'll now ask everyone who's able to do so, including those who are on Zoom, to please rise. Cantor Rubenstein will lead us in the memorial prayer for the departed, El Malei Rachamim.
El Malei Rachamim, Shochein Bameromim, Hametzeh Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Bemalot Kedoshim Utehonim, Kezohar Harakia Mazhirim, Et Nishmat Harav Mordechai Lev, Ben Baruch Meir V'Sheina Goldet, Shehalach Le'olamo, Began Eden Tehem Menuchato. Ana Baal Harachamim, Hastirehu Beseter Kenafecha Leolamim, Utzror Bitzror HaChaim, Et Nishmato Adonai Hu Nachalato, Ve'yanuach B'Shalom Al Mishkavo, Ve'nomar Amen.
Exalted and compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Harav Mordechai Lev ben Baruch Meir B'Shena Golda, Rabbi Micah Lee Caplan, who has gone to his eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May his soul be bound up in the bond of life. May he rest in peace. Amen.
Amen.
You may remain standing or be seated, whatever is most comfortable. The family is so deeply grateful for your presence here today, everyone. A private interment led by Rabbi Mark Bisman will be attended by the immediate family only. Community members are invited to offer condolences and pay their respects today from 1:30 until 2:30 at Mount Sinai Cemetery, located at 24210 North 68th Street. This will be a car-only procession. The Shiva will be held on Zoom tonight at 7:00 p.m. and on future evenings as well. The link to join the Zoom will be shared via email with congregants and also available on the synagogue's homepage for others to use as well. We thank you again for your presence, for your love, for being here and comforting the family and the community. Thank you.